Hi folks, welcome back to our little mini-series on the five-element theory. For those who it's the first time seeing us with this, welcome. And you've come right in at number 5.
The fourth element.
Fourth element, the
number
fifth
5
video.
video.
Because the introductory video. So you may be thinking, I've got no idea what this is about. And I guess in the next 20 or so minutes, you're probably thinking even more, what's this all about? If that's you, then we encourage you to go back to the start and watch the introduction and follow the elements through one by one. It will make more sense.
But you know what? Those people, when we talk about metal, they may just get it.
Am I? Yeah, they might.
They may just get it.
Metal people are pretty cool, I've got to say. But so anyway, just to cut to the chase, because we're going to assume that most of you guys have seen some of these videos by now. And if not, well, that's cool too, because maybe you'd like to go check them. But anyway, as we said, we've done now wood, fire, earth. Now we're looking at metal. And so if you look at the next picture of this, oh, I know what I shouldn't do. I should actually share the screen. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Then you can see what I've just tried to do.
It's been a long, hot day.
It's been a long, hot day. And as I said, we are up to metal. Please do forgive me. At my age in life, one tends to forget something.
Did you mention that actually metal is in autumn?
I haven't got that far yet, because I was going to mention here, metal in autumn, you see, because this is where we talk about, sometimes we mention it, sometimes we don't, but you know, the element, whatever it is, in this case it's metal, which is also autumn as a season. It's also the heart, or the basis of course, our 3 treasures, which are our unique personality, our living environment, our health and our well-being. And so we're going to just touch really quickly, again, as in the other videos, on just a little snippet of information about those 3 treasures, because our aim is to give an understanding and awareness to the 5 elements, because we all know about it, but we don't always know what it is that we know. And you'll find that as we talk about this, you will see evidence in yourself, you see evidence of these sort of things in your friends, your relatives, because these, we're talking about these elements, they are a combination of behaviors, of characteristics that exist in the real world, as in nature, and it exists in humans, as in the nature in humans. A term which I like to use when I can, but I don't always use it, but like, you know, the nature in human. So we're talking today about the unique personality, which is, we call them a professor. We're talking about a person's living environment, and we call that, in this case, for metal, it's a white tiger home, and Maree can explain what that means soon. And in terms of your health, we focus on the lungs and the large intestine, or intestine, depending which way you want to say it, but the thing. So there are your 3 treasures, and keep in mind, as with all the elements we're talking about, to have success in life is to be addressing all 3 treasures all the time, not one at the expense of others. Balancing them out.
As you can see there with on the health side of things with the lungs and the intestines is the yin and yang. It's also to do with the metal. The metal has a yin and yang. So everything we do is yin and yang, and it's balancing the yin and the yang out in everything that we do. So just bear that in mind. It's just balancing everything.
Maybe go on another topic for another day. Yin and yang, polarity of life. What does it mean? However, moving on, because we want this to be short and sweet. As we mentioned all the way through again, just again to remind you, particularly those first time watching this, these elements are not real elements. In nature, though, they at the beginning of time with I Ching and the Chinese at the time, they were real elements, but they transposed them to human behavior. So there's states of change, there's metaphors, there's stories. The Chinese love their stories. Everything was put in that form to tell other people and to transport down in time. So the metal is the end of the cycle, almost, before we lead back to start again. So metal comes from the earth, and in so doing releases water as its mind. So it's part of that 5-step process, from wood to fire to earth to metal to water, and then back to wood. Now, as we go through these, you'll start to see that that connection occurs for a person, it occurs for their home, it occurs for their health. Metal is otherwise known in a flow sense of the word as you're flowing when you know. So a person who is engaged in a metal element is a person who has an ability to, you know, pick out the figures, pick out the stats, work out what's going on. They're really good at analysing things.
And analysing and researching. I love the research. And
when you think about that, so going from a crude, like iron ore, into a very high alloy. You've gone from, you know, analysing and breaking it down to a better point, And so we end up with something really, really focused and very, very useful in its new transformed form. Is that a word, transformed form? So the first treasure, Looking here in terms of, well, this is about the element first leading in. So this is partly the treasure, partly the element behind it. So you'll see a connection now to the element, but also the person. And mental genius, and I do have to say here that I know that in the earth element, we may have noise about Maree being an earthy person, but I happen to have a bit of metal in me as well as other things, don't I?
Jeff's dominating element is metal in his charts when I've done his natal charts up. My day element, which is my self element, is metal, but that is my second lowest. So I really find it hard to work with the metal.
So when we work together, we're known as iron ore. Iron ore. That was me funny. Never mind. But anyway, mental people or mental genius, because genius is what it is. Genius is a whole topic of its own, but it's what drives a person, it's who they are. And people with mental genius possess great skill in creating a structure. They like the structure. And obviously, see things like spreadsheets and so forth will come to play. They are very adaptive in knowing when to let things go and flow rather than take control. That's clever, because you would think that if we talk about structure, they want control. No, they're smart people. They know how to make things work. So they've displayed precision, organisation, authority, all these sorts of things. They've got strong sensitivity to their environment through looking at the sound, visual perception of touch and smell. They're pretty cool people, let's be honest. I mean, all elements are cool. They've all got different reasons.
When you're at a conference, we've been to many conferences where we've been divided up into groups, and everyone who has their dominating element will go into whatever it is. The majority we've found fire was always fire people. There's always been a lot of people in that, I say about a 200, because a fire person is the one that they're the ones that, like all the people around them, but there were very few metal people. And metal people always hide in the background, but always want to learn stuff. So they are the quieter ones.
Did you see?
And the opposite to the metal is the fire. Which are the loud ones on that side of the room and the metal people on that side.
Another way of looking at that, the fire people want to be noticed. The metal people don't want you to know they're there. They would rather watch. You see, at a party, right? A metal person will get to know almost everybody in that room. They'll watch them and know them. The fire person will find much less contact because they're so busy being, I'm here, look at me, I want to connect with you because I'm here. And that's the extreme, but that's the difference. One likes to be noticed and be out in the group. One likes to sit back and look at the group. But anyway, so basically, there's more information here that we're going to mention.
Your second highest is fire. So your percentage of
So what I do is I go out and I make a lot of noise. I run the side of the room and hide to see what reaction I get.
Yeah. So your metal is 160. Your fire is 155. So Jeff has got the yin and yang there. He's got the yang as the fire and the yin as the metal. So he he's only just realized that when I said, no, you talk a lot, you do this and you do that. Over the years, he's never believed that what I was saying was correct until I did his charts. And he says, there you go, Jeff, you're 155, you're dominating, your second dominating is fire. Then once you come and realize, okay, this is who you are, you accept that.
But once you accept it, you start to see it was always there.
Yeah.
You start to see things that are always happening.
Your natural things coming out.
What's the thing? So we can show you exactly, like, it's not an advertising for it, but we can show any of you exactly what amount of element you've got in each. When she says 155 or 65, that's a score that's been calculated.
160, 155.
Whether it was, yeah.
That's my metal coming out.
But that's beside the point, and we don't want to labour that point yet because we'd rather just touch more on, not just not all about me, it's about the whole concept of metal. And
so we'll keep going.
We'll keep going because but keep in mind what she says quite correct. You can find out very precisely and very accurately what mix of elements you've got inside you. That's an important point. It does make you feel good. Now, I'm not going to mention all these, as I said. You can get back to this video, like I've said every other time, read it, watch it again, stop it, start it, whatever you want to do with it. So there's a bunch of characteristics in there that sort of explain the mental approach. Obviously, they're very good at everything. Well, that was me wrote that one. Introverted. They avoid confrontation. Yeah, they look inside to themselves for answers. They want to be confident and even aggressive if, depending on circumstances, put them in their road and they have to do something, right? But they're most happy when they've got figures and details to work with. It's important.
So what we found when I've done charts on people, we found that computer gurus, like people who own computer IT businesses, financial accountants, financial advisors, accountants, and that are very high in metal because they have to be. They are so detailed. But then on the other hand, there was one guy that I did the charts on, and he was high in fire. And when I went into his office, he had grey everywhere, and he had a dash of red. And I said, "Oh, why do you have that dash of red?" "Oh, that's what I just felt as though my brand should be." And then when I realised, that's his they're his main elements, you can understand, that's what he was feeling as well.
Without knowing it,
yeah, without knowing it. When you're in tune of who you are, it's so much
easier.
easier.
At the same time, just moving on from there, that you might think, oh, well, therefore IT people must always be metal. But you know what? A very large percentage of web developers come across differently to metal. They're more wood, which is more creative. That's interesting because that's a different way of using your element. Because you could be in your element, but are you using your element?
Some people could have learnt, their path has actually taken them into that role. So they've actually learned how to do it, or found out how to do that job the best, that they can be. So it's something that's learnt and something that comes naturally.
So it's natal versus manifested genius. Keep that in mind, natal versus manifested genius. So what is this genius? Hey, professor is what we call the metal person. Okay, and again, there's a bunch of stuff you can read. I pick on the ones that are bold. A philosopher, professor, somebody's a professor, is punctual and a rule follower. Most important, logical, enjoys structure. No surprises so far. Ethical, of course. Perfectionist, pretty much, because they want things to be right. Unfortunately, that can be absorbed by grief, which is a shame. They like sophisticated designer clothing. You might think that doesn't sound right for a person who's very, structured, but then think about this, designer clothing is very structured at the top and very tailored to suit. That's why they like it. They like filtering things at events, but the biggest thing they don't want is to lose their integrity. Because to them, to be seen to not be able to do what they do and be of value to somebody else is like taking away the ground from underneath them. Right? Their biggest joy is to not to say how good I am, but for you to appreciate how good they are for you. Very important for a mental person. So that's professor. Now, of course, that's fine. So there's the element. There's the personality of the professor. That's the first treasure. Second treasure we can look at is the living environment. It's very, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but it's not just the home, it's the work, it's your surrounds, it's everything, it's your environment. Maybe, Maree, what's the name?
Okay, so what we do is that when I profile a person's house, it depend on a number of things. It depends on the colour, the shape. The year that the roof went on is the year of the house. So we give it an age as well. So working out that age, it could be a metal home. So we actually give it the white tiger. It also has, if you need to put some more metal in your home and you are a metal person, depending on the rooms, like metal with mirrors, everything has to be precision, organisation and confidence. But if you want to put mirrors in the home, metal shapes are the ovals and the circles, the round and the oval shaped mirrors. But there are certain rooms that you don't put mirrors, like it all depends on the placement of mirrors in bedrooms and things like that. But we go over that in more into detail when we actually feng shui a place. And it's not just feng shuiing as, okay, you put a mirror here to reflect all the good energy coming in and all that sort of thing.
Well, that's more of an enhancement than a remedy.
We put in cures and remedies, but it's working out the individual's natal characteristics. How much metal element do they have in them naturally? My self element is metal, but I have very little metal in my charts. It's the second lowest. So I have to bring in the earth, and because my dominating is earth, I actually can use all my earth energy element to actually feed the metal. Because remember, in the seasons, the earth is before the metal. But what can actually drain the metal is what comes after, is the water. So this is what we look at, what feeds, what enhances, what drains each of these elements. So if you're a metal person, now I've actually got black and white on, which is more the whites and the grey tones. The animals are the monkey and the rooster. February and March are the metal months, but before that we had an earth month. So January is an earth month and February and March are metal months for the Southern Hemisphere.
You mean the Southern Hemisphere? Just in case someone's not in the
For
Southern
the
Hemisphere,
Southern
thinking, what is she talking about?
I have been working when I studied the feng shui, I was working on Northern Hemisphere and I think, oh, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound right. Why is this, the wrong month? Well, it's not summer, it's winter, it's not autumn, it's spring. So
There are
with
major
all my,
differences, yeah.
so when I actually did all my study, I was working on the Northern Hemisphere. So all I knew is Northern Hemisphere. When I then,
Which is what most people know.
which what most people know. So if anyone's looking at, the wood dragon now, that's Northern Hemisphere. But we are in January, which is an earth month. We are coming into February, March, which is autumn. Autumn in the Northern Hemisphere is August, September. So the monkey is in August and September is in the rooster. When I first did my feng shui many, many, many years ago, I started looking at feng shui. I was reading all these books. And I thought, oh my God, this is fascinating. I was a metal rooster, the year of the metal rooster. And I'm thinking, oh, it doesn't, there's a lot of things just didn't resonate. Really didn't resonate until I actually did my study. It was based on Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere, and all our seasons changed, our years change, everything changes. So this is something that I would like to be talking about later on down the track, because all those people in Australia where we are, they need to know, and so that the Southern Hemisphere is the opposite, 6 months apart from the Northern Hemisphere.
And see, why is it important, in case you're wondering, apart from the fact that it's important, is the fact that everything in a home, it's not about the home, decorating the home, it's about getting the home's energy to work for the people in the home. That's why it's important to know, who these people are in the home themselves. It's important to know where the home is, and it's important to work out, where possible, how to naturally create an environment that's supportive and nurturing for those people. So therefore, when a lot of country people go on about, corner for this and a colour for that, we will get that's more like decorating. It has its job, it has a function, it works, but there's a deeper level that when it's addressed properly, it gives much greater satisfaction to a person in what they're trying to achieve. Wouldn't you agree?
I think we also got to think about, with technology these days, it's very metal.
Well, modern home, look at the modern home even.
Model home. If somebody lives in a home that is built on, what do you call it, a steel framework, any metal framework, that is really bad health because of all the electromagnetic fields and all that sort of stuff. Beds that have got metal bases, wires and all that sort of thing.
You've got homes like the building like in the townhouses. There's 30, 40 townhouses, the same colour roof, the same colour walls, same colour door. I sure hope that anyone that lives here doesn't come home drunk, because they're going to get lost, because they'll look the same. The kitchen's white. The same, yeah. The tiles are white, the bathroom's white. Now that's great if you're an over-the-top metal person, but for the rest of the world, they'd like a little bit of variety. So it's interesting.
When I'm doing consultations with people in their homes and all that sort of thing, I'll look at their personality. I'll look at who they are. Do they need colour in their home? I know that with all the builders these days, as you were saying, everything is just white everywhere. But the thing is, it's going to cost a lot of money to rip new tiles out or paint the walls and all this stuff, but you can accessorize by putting in, if somebody's an earth person, then you need to put in your earth tones. If you're a fire person, you need to put in your reds. If you're a water person, you need to put in ponds and swimming pools and water features.
Apart from the person, you're also then balancing the environment.
Exactly.
Because the elements have to balance.
When I walk into homes that are just everything white, metal actually drains me. It really drains me. It wouldn't affect you, but it really drains me, because metal will actually drain out the earth people. So it's quite funny when, you know, I talk to people and the husband want this and the wife would want that. I say, okay, we need to work out rooms that each room they have their own little space where they can, it's their little retreat that they feel comfortable in. So the home and the work environment is very important.
So that's the second treasure, really done in a brief little snapshot. The third treasure, which is really important, of course, is your health. And when we talk about health, we're only focusing on this discussion on the 5 elements, on the element of metal in terms of the body's health. We're not going into the bigger picture just yet. So the yin organ, which is what we discussed, all the elements have a yin and a yang organ. From the yin point of view, we're looking at the lungs. In Chinese medicine, it's called the judge. And lungs are pretty important things, I think we agree, wouldn't we? Because they're responsible for respiration and regulation of qi throughout the body. And you're saying, what's qi? That's like something put on a spread on toast. No, qi, or qi, which is pronounced qi, is the energy in the body. So the lungs have a very important job. They help create the blood in line with the food, but they also help to move the energy. Very important things. And they therefore move and adjust the water channels, which are the fluids, which includes things like sweat. Okay, because that's part of an actual organ. The skin is seen to be part of the lungs, which I think even in the Western science they recognise that the skin is actually the largest organ in the body. They see it as such. So pretty important things, the old lungs. And what do? They rule very much the exterior parts of the body, as it says on the slide there. The sweat, the skin, body hair, as in, you know, not the body hair health, but the fact your hair wears the hair on your body, not the hair on your head necessarily, but on the arms, on your legs, some nationalities on the chest, on the back, it all depends. But the point of that is, you see, when you sweat, then there's moisture on the hair, which is then cooling the body, which is the whole point of the organ, to keep things in place. So we look at the lungs, it's opening into the nose, not surprising, because that's the breath coming in and out, you know, it's running in and out, and therefore the lungs and the throat and the vocal cords are connected because we're using air to push through the vocal cords for talking. Now you're probably thinking, why is he saying all this? It's because this then relates down the track to understanding the various ailments and things that can occur in a person's body. Then we can work out what organs are connected, therefore how do we help them overcome the problem. From an emotional point of view, which is my interest as well very much, is metal can be one of emotion of confidence or courage, like a positive emotion of confidence, because I got the information, I know the facts. How many people have you heard say, I know the facts, I got the facts? Well,
And you let everyone know.
And you let everyone know, because you know, you're confident. At the same time, when things aren't going so well, we can have grief or chronic depression.
You
right? Not so far. You can have, see, the fire of the heart, it has mild depression or low-spirited, whereas in the terms of the metal, it becomes way more than that. It becomes very much a deeper, more chronic long-term.
So if somebody had weaker lungs, they would actually have more, they are more susceptible to have chronic depression.
Not necessarily, no, but it's more the other way around. Right, so if you've got weak lungs, the more that they've got health problems that can occur in terms of the strength of your lungs to do their job. Depression can cause, obviously it's a manifestation of a poor lung, but it's also an outcome because of how it makes you feel and that sense of pressure on you, the downward sense of, but also don't forget, the emotion will come from the fact that a mental person wants to be successful, and if they're not being successful, they're being stymied by somebody else or something else, they're going to get depressed. And then, like all human beings, with depression comes the potential for more depression if it's not addressed very quickly. Now, in terms of time of day, we say that because there's a 24-hour body clock that Chinese medicine works with, and each organ, yin and yang, have their time to play. But we're working on the yin organs at the moment. We'll get to the yang organs another time. So the yin organ, which of course we know is now the lungs, is doing its job most at 3 o'clock. It works all day long, otherwise you die. But its job in terms of regulating qi, is between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning, where it gets to protect the body and governs the qi and the respiration in the body. So it's detoxifying, that type of thing. So you need to be sleeping soundly. And oftentimes, if you're not sleeping soundly in this period, it could be because the lungs are struggling to do their job. And that could come from a range of things. It could become an issue based on the liver playing up. It could be the heart. Different organs have interplays together. But
and also the lungs, because they, don't forget, they're autumn. Now, this is what the autumn comes before the winter. So a lot of people will start getting coughs and breathing issues maybe in the autumn time. So because the lungs are associated with your skin and your body hair, what a good, I'm just going to tell them a quick little trick. If you have got a cough, you're waking up in the morning, you're not sleeping really well, and you're waking up and you're sleeping on your back, and you wake up with a little bit of congestion in your throat. I always have a shower. But always get a loofah, scrub, and just do a body scrub. Just get a bit of soap and just body scrub all over, because by you scrubbing all your skin all over will actually activate the lungs to work a little bit more and clear all that congestion out. Every autumn I get this, and every autumn I think, okay, scrub, scrub, scrub. Every time I have a shower, just scrub. Good. And it does work. People are, there was a student in New York, and she did this because she kept on getting the smog and all this sort of stuff. And she did that for days and months and months and months. Every time she got a little bit of a lung infection, and she swears by it as well. So
don't forget that the best way to get ready for winter is to start in spring before and build your immune system up, but that's for another day, because that's a whole different ballgame. So what we're saying then, to cut that to the chase, here's your 3 treasures really quickly, but you've got all 5 elements inside you. Very rare when you find a person who doesn't. So when you started to think about what we just talked about, and you've gone back and checked the other ones, probably the 3rd or 4th time, because you're so keen now to know all this, I know you are, you'll be starting to see all these bits and pieces in you and your friends and your relatives and so forth. Because we've all got bits and pieces. There's nobody on this planet that's all wood or all metal or all anything. It's just not possible. We have a mixture of things in us, and it's a combination of what we were born with and what we've learned to do to survive. Our natal genius and manifested genius. So when you think about that, you think about how the elements and seasons impact on us. Think about how it affects how we think. Think about how it affects our health, how we live our lives in our homes. So the point is, if you want to have a good life, you need to know, how much metal do I have in me? What is that metal doing for me?
What element is draining my metal?
What elements are draining my metal?
I need to use my metal. I need to have clarity when I'm working on a certain project.
How do I engage that metal when I need it?
What foods do I eat to help me get my lungs into shape, so I can actually think clearly and all this.
Keeping in mind that we're talking about, we're not going to eat a piece of iron ore. With metal, we're talking about the metaphor for things like that. So when we say about eating stuff, we're talking about the foods that have the characteristics that support the metal element, and therefore in terms of support the metal organs as well. So what we're saying then, therefore, as we mentioned another time so far too, is you embrace all this. You embrace it in what you do in your own world day by day, in your relationships, in your health, your home, your workplace, all these different things that come in life. It all comes together. It's 3 treasures. And the elements exist inside the 3 treasures and vice versa. So, again, how much metal do you have in you? How much metal do your friends and family have in them? So, bottom line is, we've gone through 4, but there's 1 more. And when we go to the last one, which is water, we can then put it all together and just start to examine why they're combined together so much. It's very important. So, I'll just stop that for a second. And let's think about it. I was going to tell him something, but I changed my mind. Sorry. I thought, no. Let's just think about, go back, revisit, because very shortly we'll put out the video on the water, and you will start to even more understand the connection between all of them together.
I think once you've seen the water element, then if you go back and you're contact us and say, we like to do the natal chart. I want to see how many, what's the elemental percentage of each of those.
And what can that mean for me moving forward? Yeah, very important.
Okay, so that's it for this
metal. And we're back in the very near future with a look at the 5th element, which is water. So, till then, take care.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.